Hello, good evening, dear classmates. Welcome to the second session of the study group. Um, Hope you're doing well tonight. And our topic is today the code mixing and the code switching. So we've already did some lectures, readings about these topics, but just as a reminder, code switching is, according to Victoria and Rotman, code switching is a term in linguistics referring to using more than one language or dialect in a conversation, and this can occur at the level of words, phrases, or entire sentences. But the fact that it can happen with words, phrases, or like short sentences, um, it doesn't mean that it's like um with a different language or like a second language. It's more like in the image. So we literally change our switch from a language to another one. And mostly it's like whole phrases or like the entirety of something or like an utterance, it's in that language. Okay. And then we have the code mixing, which involves the simultaneous use of both languages, but like in this case, they are blend together. So as in the picture, we see the kid saying, "Wanna help me with un castillo?" The girl responds, "Sí, let's make a castle grande." So they are mixing both languages within the sentences they are um, saying. So that's basically the difference between both of them. And as we read on the text we did before the study group, um, each language can also affect our personality. So we're gonna start with the first question. Um, the drill, it's gonna be the same as the previous one. I'm gonna give you 1 minute and a half to each one of us to speak, to talk about the like our point of view. And when you have 30 seconds left, I'm gonna put like a clock over here. All right? Okay. So the first question, what advantages do people have by being bilingual or multilingual? I'd like to hear Virgilia first, if you don't mind.
Okay, so because you have already stored two codes or two of more codes in your brain, within your brain storage, now you're capable of adapting your codes to whatever context you're being part of. So that means whenever you're feeling in a in a context where there's a lot of pressure, you're now capable of adapting or looking rapidly for a structure or a word that is required in one or in one of the languages or the other one. So now you're capable of having this ability of adapting your language uh, depending to the context. That's my answer. Is it okay?
All right,
Okay.
I mean that's fine. That's fine. Thank you so much, Virgilia. And then, Paoli, you have 1 minute and a half. Just give me a second. Go ahead.
Okay. So I would like to also mention some others advantages that comes with being bilingual or multilingual in this case. And firstly, I would like to mention that it lets you to communicate easily with other people around the world and for sure to learn about more about their cultures. That it's something really important when you know a second language or a third language. And so I think that's a really good advantage of being bilingual or multilingual. And also, that another advantage which would be that it lets you to expand your social circle, because the more languages you know, more advantages you have. And also, being bilingual or multilingual gives you these great opportunities in job, for example. you know, like nowadays companies prefer hiring people who speak multiple languages. So I think it's a great ability that you can have. And lastly, I would like to mention something that Miss Anna Karen mentioned it last class that we have. And she mentioned something about that we have like a little box in your mental box um in your minds, and where we have our languages we know and we can use them at any time we need them. So I think it's a great advantage and it's very helpful, you know. So, mhm.
All right, thank you so much, Valerie. So I, so in my opinion, I agree with both of you. I think it's really interesting, seeing how people either grow up being bilingual or they acquire the single language later on their life. In one of the advantages, besides like expanding your social circles, which I think is really important, also very fun, it's the job opportunity. I think we have the chance to work in different areas or spaces, and also that allows us to know more about different cultures. And I think that's very rich. Like, um, our mind changes, and also our mindset changes. And and that's very, and and I also think that it's very fulfilling having to have the ability or to code switch or code mix when you're like speaking and using both languages. So that's my, and okay, so we're gonna move to the next question, which is, switching codes affect our personalities? I'd like volunteer this time. Who would like to do the first one? Virgilio, you want to speak?
I'm going to
Go
start.
ahead.
This is an interesting question because it all depends on the speaker, on the person who we're calling bilingual or multilingual. So yes, in a way, it seems like our personality is being affected in our depending on what language we are talking. So what I can say is that uh, because you have spent more time using a language, you're now going to be more capable of producing more sentences out of that. You're going to get used to talking in that language. So now you can say that you're like able of swear or talk about something that is really traumatic for you because you're talking in a language that is comfortable for you to talk in. So yeah.
All right, now Pauli, you have 1 minute and a half.
Mm, okay, thank you. So, well, in my case, I wouldn't say that switching from one code to another changes our personality. Instead, it is in your attitudes, behaviors, and even in our emotional attitudes. But not the personality itself of each person. Uh, Now, these changes are due to the change of situation or context in which we use a language, I would say. For example, just think about how you talk with your best friend, and how your behavior adapt to her or him, independent of the use of Spanish or English or in other language. So then think how your behavior changes in the more formal like interactions you have, for example, with a teacher. And it's the same. So if you're speaking in Spanish or English, um, your personality won't change. Um, Instead is the change in attitude or behavior depending on the context or situation you are using the language.
Okay, well, um, I actually agree with you, Pauli, because I think Um, well, when we're like switching codes, as you may know, I work and my job is bilingual. So I've noticed that my tone of voice changes when I speak in English and I speak in Spanish. And I think my voice it's warmer in English. Like my it's not like my personality changes because it's like me. My like Abril is always gonna be Abril in English and Spanish. But I do think that we sound different because of the expressions we use are different in English and Spanish. And I I think it's our attitudes, the ones that change like a little bit. And my voice in English in the contract is very low because they tend to speak in this part, while we in Spanish we speak like here. You know what I mean? So I think that's what changes. But I do see that there is like a difference when we're like switching the code. But yeah. And then we're gonna move to the last question. And this is a little bit of a debate. Well, I'm not really sure, but in some places from the US, we've seen videos where people are speaking Spanglish, which is you know, a variety of the English and Spanish. And they're usually either mostly mixing the code, or you know, like they are like saying like sentences, full sentences in one language and then change to the other language for the second sentence. So we've seen like this hybrid variety of the language, and these people sometimes are being attacked on the videos by some US citizens. So what would you respond to the racist people who think that we shouldn't be code switching or mixing our languages while we speak? um I'd like to hear this time Pauli first, if that's okay. So you can start now.
Mhm. I will be kind of brief with this with my answer. So for those who criticize or attack others for speaking Spanglish or mixing certain languages, I would say that that um language is natural and dynamic, and I think it's a part of the culture and identity of people. So code switching or code mixing are common phenomenons among multilinguals or bilingual. And so it often reflects the background of those people and also their experiences with languages. So I think it's not about if it is right or wrong. So because I think it shows how language evolves and adapt over time. So I think it shouldn't be something to be criticized, you know? And so instead of attacking others of um using this mixing of languages, I truly believe that it should be something to celebrate. I mean, this linguistic diversity that we have and the possibility that bilinguals have to speak two languages and also other people understand you. So yeah, I think no matter what form it takes, as long as you are understood by other people.
All right, thank you so much, Carly. Now you, Virgilio. Let's hear you.
Okay, so if I'm being attacked by someone who's like not wanting me to mix my or switch my languages, I personally, first of all, apologize to them to them, because when I'm speaking a language, I like to be as accurate and fluently as I can in the language. So it's going to happen that my English will have a limit. So it's going to happen that I'll be struggling with looking for structures of words in one language. So that's when my Spanish is going to come. So it's going to come and save me to looking for structures and words that I can use to express myself, because the objective of communication is to transmit a message being comprehended by the one who is receiving the message. So yeah, I will have to apologize and make them understand that my English has a limit. So yeah.
Thank you, Julia. So for me, I think that we know that in the US there's a lot of racist people, and I've seen many videos like this. And I think it's very sad, that people is like getting angry, like they're saying like you're in this country, you have to speak this language because that's a native language, right? But as you two mentioned, it's reach to speak both languages, and I think it's part of their culture. Like people that speak English, they grew up like they were born speaking both languages. So whenever but what I would say to them is like it's okay because that's me, that's my identity. Code switching, code mixing with my family because that's what we speak. And you know everyone has the right to show what their culture is, and I think US government should be more like they should create like projects of conscious or awareness for people to know that that's not nothing wrong to do wrong, because it's culture and it's identity to the people. So that would be my opinion for that. I think this last question was very interesting, and I really appreciate each one of your opinions for each question. And well, I think this is a very interesting topic because we are becoming bilingual, and at some point, whenever we become teachers, we're gonna be bilingual too, because that would be part of our job. So, well, it's important to identify these both differences between code switching and code mixing, and for the linguistical aspect in English. So, well, thank you so much for being part of this second study group session, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful night.
Bye.